plastic pollution is an urgent crisis that affects every aspect of our lives, from the food we eat to the clothes we wear, and even our very bodies. What was once a revolutionary invention has now become a toxic menace, threatening our health, our planet, and our future. Judith Enck, president of Beyond Plastics, and reporter Adam Mahoney have teamed up to expose the truth in their new book, The Problem with Plastic. This eye-opening book serves as a call to action, a potential legal brief, and a roadmap for change. The world is drowning in plastic waste, with a staggering 8 billion tons of plastic littering our planet, causing diseases and deaths at every stage of life. Without drastic measures, the situation will only worsen, as plastic production continues to skyrocket. From just 2 million tons in 1950, we now produce a staggering 450 million tons annually, and this number is expected to triple by 2060. But here's where it gets controversial. Less than 6% of plastic is recycled in the US. So where does all this plastic end up? It harms us, our communities, and our environment. Enck boldly states that plastic is a poison, a toxic web that affects every stage of its life cycle, from extraction to disposal. The crisis is not just about pollution and microplastics. It's about an entire industry that has spun a web of harm. This crisis was created by corporations, not consumers. It's a deliberate strategy by fossil fuel, chemical, and plastics companies to sell more plastic, regardless of the consequences. Enck writes, so what exactly is the problem with plastic? Enck highlights several critical issues. Firstly, plastic is made from fossil fuels, and we urgently need to reduce our reliance on them. Historically, plastic was derived from oil and chemicals, but today, it's produced using a staggering 16,000 different chemicals and a byproduct of hydrofracking methane. The excess of plastic on the market is not due to consumer demand but a surplus of fracked gas. At fracked gas sites, waste ethane is often vented into the atmosphere, releasing a potent greenhouse gas. New pipelines are being built to transport this waste gas to massive industrial facilities called ethane crackers. These facilities, like the one in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, constructed by Shell, produce enormous amounts of tiny plastic pellets, known as nurdles, which are then shipped across the country to plastic product manufacturers, Enck explains. The second major issue is the pollution of our oceans. Large amounts of plastic waste from land make their way into our waterways and eventually the ocean. While some plastics form giant islands, known as gyres, most settle on the ocean floor, breaking down into microplastics. These microplastics are consumed by marine life, from fish to sea turtles and birds, causing severe damage to our marine ecosystems. But it's not just the ocean that's affected. Environmental injustice is a significant concern. Most plastic is manufactured in low-income communities and communities of color in Louisiana, Texas, and Appalachia, where people are poisoned by plastic production facilities. Areas like Cancer Alley, along the Mississippi River between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, the Houston Ship Channel in Port Arthur, Texas, and various locations in Appalachia bear the brunt of this toxic industry. These communities suffer during plastic production, and because most plastic isn't recycled, it ends up littering the environment or in landfills and garbage incinerators, which are disproportionately located in low-income and communities of color, Enck points out. The fourth major problem is the non-recyclability of most plastics. Unlike paper, metal, glass, and cardboard, which are easily recyclable, plastics are designed to be non-recyclable. Different types of plastics cannot be recycled together, even if they are the same type but different colors. The plastic industry knows this, yet they've spent millions deceiving the public, making people feel good about single-use plastics, with their iconic three-arrow logo. The deception is so extreme that California Attorney General Rob Bonta sued ExxonMobil for deceptive advertising in September 2024, Enck reveals. The final and perhaps most alarming issue is the health impacts of plastic. We are all ingesting and inhaling microplastics, and recent studies have found these tiny particles in our bloodstreams, heart arteries, kidneys, lungs, testicles, breast milk, brains, hair, and saliva. Shockingly, microplastics have even been detected in the human placenta, exposing fetuses to these harmful substances. This is a serious health concern for everyone, not just those living near plastic production facilities or garbage incinerators. We are all exposed to plastics through packaging, building materials, carpets, and clothing. The health impacts are becoming increasingly clear, Enck warns. So, who are the corporations behind this plastic crisis? Enck refers to them as big plastic. These include fossil fuel giants like Shell and ExxonMobil, chemical companies like Dow and DuPont, and thousands of smaller companies that use plastic in their products, from PVC pipes to children's toys, clothing, and packaging. It's a vast universe of large companies, and they all have an army of lobbyists working against any legislative action that might reduce plastic use. Trade associations like the American Chemistry Council and the Plastics Industry Association fight tooth and nail to maintain the status quo, Enck explains. So what's the solution? Enck advocates for a phase-out of plastic use and a shift towards building, reusing, and refilling infrastructure. She highlights the example of milk and Coca-Cola, which used to be sold in glass bottles that were returned, washed, and reused. We need to reduce waste and overpackaging. We have alternatives like mycelium, a type of mushroom, and traditional materials like paper, cardboard, metal, and glass, which can all be recycled. These alternatives are better for our health and the environment, even if they might be more expensive for companies. Enck concludes. And this is the part most people miss: the plastic industry's deceptive practices and their impact on our health, our communities, and our planet. It's time to hold these corporations accountable and demand real change. What do you think? Is it time to break free from plastic?